It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Happy game day. Oilers and Hawks tonight. If you are watching live, if you're listening on the podcast, you might have already watched the game and everything we say is about to be wrong. Who knows? We'll have to see how that works. If you are watching and have not yet subscribed to the podcast, just search Two Guys and a Goalie on all your podcasting platforms and subscribe. You'll never miss an episode, so if you can't catch it live, you can listen to it at your convenience. This video is always archived on my Twitter account as well, or on YouTube. You can find all of it at nielsenmedia.ca. Episode 208, as always, brought to you by our friends at CoolBet. Sign up for an account today. The bonus code is 2GUYS, the number 2 in the word guys when you sign up for an account, and you will get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. Chris Abbott from CoolBet going to pop by in about 15 minutes time. But Nielsen, Gage, Cass, and Hernan back with you once again, and we've got lots to discuss yet again, boys, as the Edmonton Oilers trying to work their way to a 3-2 trip. And with the way that Mikko Koskinen has been playing, I mean, maybe they do get that done here as well. We'll get to that as we work our way through. We got a couple questions for Keep It or Clip It as well. But any life updates? Anything cool going on, guys? Or are we all just on the grind right now?
I told you guys, I'm off to Sherwood Park to throw down with the dance moms later on this evening. And it's
Are you an underdog in that battle, Gager, or what?
No, well, they like the psychological warfare, right? Like, oh, Joaquin, like that jacket looks good on you. Like just those little subtle hits.
How dare they compliment you?
Oh, my gosh, you know. Oh, I saw you on TV. What nice jacket. Looked a little tight. Like dance moms are the worst. They're just the worst. So I got a full repertoire to come back at him today, and we'll see how it goes. This is a lot. You talk about a grind, Dusty. For the next month and a half, I'm dealing with these people, and I'm ready for it this year. So we got the costumes ready. They're beaded. They're sparkly. I'm ready to go.
Is that your costumes or your daughter's?
Both.
I was gonna say you should either roll in one of two ways: dress like an absolute slob, so bad that they don't even want to talk to you, or roll in like full suit, like I'm talking tux, and then see what they say.
I might throw the velour tracksuit on just for shock value.
You
today.
should.
Yeah, one of them might take a. I got one that says Fat Farm, PHAT, and I was gonna wear that. Oh, nice suit. I go, yeah, got it from your hometown. But I don't know. We might. That's the trump card. I gotta wait.
I want text updates a little bit later. Cass, are any of your girls into dance yet?
No, we've been talking about it because they've been talking about it. So I don't know. I'm a little like I know they would love it. They would all love it, but I'm scared based on what other dads have told me about it. So I'm very, very nervous about the possibility of that happening. But I'm assuming it probably will happen at some point because those little girls love to dance and love the idea of dancing. So yeah, I'm probably going to be in the trenches with you on that one, Gager. Although it might not be as vicious for the first couple of years.
No, but the thing is, Cass, if I can give you a piece of advice as an elder statesman of the dance community, it keeps them young. My daughter's she's going to be 13 or 14. I don't know how old she is, but she doesn't act like she still is a little kid, and it keeps them young because they're so focused at a certain point, and and then. The whole makeup thing's not a big deal to them, right? Because for a few months they're putting it on every day, and I mean
good point.
the full thing. So it's not a big deal to go to school and stuff. Like we went and got her. Can't believe I'm talking about this, but we went and got her her lashes done. So she's got the big fluttery lashes. She looks great, but it's not you don't have to. It's bad to say, and girls should be able to dress however they want, I think, when they go to school. But the makeup thing, I see some girls with makeup and they're younger, and it's still kind of, I'm at an age where it doesn't feel right. So my daughter's fine. She gets it out of her system. She hangs out with her dance friends, and it keeps them in that kind of bubble, and it's safe and protected. It's really nice, and it's never a problem to get her there.
And Gager, the worst part is, I know my sister always complains. My niece is she's in her last year. She's 17. She's like, they do these events at like 1 o'clock on a Thursday. It's like, we work. What are we supposed to do? Like,
yeah.
It's never like at a reasonable time for parents, right?
The best is when, I don't think it's there, but at the U of A, because there's Rat upstairs. And so it's funny because I would sneak up to Rat and crush a couple pints and then look over and see a couple other dance dads in the corner. And we just kind of do the air cheers from a distance. So can't wait to see you there, Cass. Only a few more years.
Yeah, that'll be something. I got 2 nieces in it. My sister out of Victoria, both of her girls are pretty heavily involved in it. They're going like, she's got dance with one of them at least 5 times a week. Like, it's insane. And my daughter just started. She's like 5 lessons in. She goes on Monday nights for half an hour. She loves it. She's got like a little tutu in her little dance bag, and she's a tough little shit for dance, but I think she's gonna like it. So it's that damn Frozen, man. Frozen just locks them all in, and they just want to get into dance. All right, we've got lots to get to. Chris Abbott will be buying about 10. Oilers and Hawks tonight. So let's start here. Hernan Salas, what do we got to talk about, buddy?
Yeah, boys, I remember back in the summer, we were working the day. Duncan Keith,
Yep.
The trade came down the pipe, and we were all kind of thrown back by no salary retention and all that. But I must say, and I was guilty of it, I've been very impressed with Duncan Keith. I think he's been very good for the Edmonton Oilers. Him and Ceci have formed a very nice pairing. I know they're not playing together right now, but I think Duncan Keith's come in and done maybe more than at least I expected. He still passes the puck extremely well. He's good defensively. He's just that veteran presence. And yesterday we saw such a nice little tribute to him. Walking into the arena there, and all the boys with the sticks up, and you saw how close they are and how happy the players were for him. You got the red carpet treatment. So Duncan Keith's first game back in Chicago should be a lot of emotions there as well. Probably an extended tribute for him. But guys, all in all, just your thoughts on what we saw yesterday with the welcome by his teammates, and just what Duncan Keith's brought to the Oilers so far. Because for me, I think he's just kind of come in here and just been a reliable player for the Edmonton Oilers. Really good.
I want to go on record saying I thought it was a great idea to get Duncan Keith in here. And way back when, we can go back to whenever it was. But no, awesome tribute. I know at the start of the year, everyone was getting a little bit worried with his play, but for a guy that can still get around the ice and skate like Keith, you knew it was just a matter of time before he became a little bit more familiar with his surroundings. You saw the look on these guys' faces, him coming back into the team and doing that little thing. And I mean, I hate these little tributes, but this is one case where a tribute is necessary for this guy. And it should almost be it should be before the game and almost like a retirement jersey type of thing. This guy's going to go straight into the Hall of Fame. He's just been a phenomenal player for so many years. His resume is just ridiculous. Good for him. I hope he has a good game coming home back to Chicago.
I mean, I don't know what the big deal is. Duncan who?
Did you never get a reception like that, Cass?
I mean, that was pretty. That's like an everyday thing. Everyone, except typically only happened when I was, it was we knew I was going to be in the lineup and not healthy scratched. So it didn't happen
you're playing tonight.
You're playing tonight. Give me the tunnel.
No,
it's man, it was great to see. I'm not surprised they did that, and Tommy, huge Wiener Gazzola, massive Wiener Gazzola, gargantuan Wiener Gazzola. He asked me the other day, he was like, does the team try to do something special for him? Or like, how do they keep the team energy up, even just game to game here, heading into opponents that are maybe not as good as the ones you've played in like a Chicago? And I said, if I was the coaching staff, I'm going to try to encourage something with Duncan Keith to try to get guys motivated to win this game for him. because you're trying to pull things in different reasons that you can get people fired up, that you can get them engaged, that you can get them excited. And to me, this was a great example of it. Now, the leadership group in the team probably are the ones that champion this, but they probably asked the coaching staff for the go-ahead, and they probably just were absolutely like, yeah, let's do something. Let's make this exciting. Let's make this special, not just for Keith, but for the team as a whole. Let's make an experience for everybody because, it pulls people together. It galvanizes a group, and it gives you some exterior motivation beyond just, we need to make the playoffs for this team to play it this weekend. So it was a great little tribute for the guys. Great for Duncan Keith. Amazing. I mean, you include playoffs. He's played over 1,300 games in a Chicago jersey. Like, that's nuts. Absolutely nuts. So what a fantastic career for him. What a great welcome and a great job by the team. And hopefully it leads to a little bit of an Oilers victory today.
I would just talk quickly about his play on the ice so far. With the way that a lot of people reacted, and maybe it was an overreaction because of the contract and they didn't maintain, have them retain any of the salary and those things. But people acted like Duncan Keith was an absolute train wreck on the ice, and that there was no way he was going to help the team. Like, that was the kind of the consensus with a lot of the fan base when they brought this guy in. And yeah, he hasn't come in and played 24 minutes a night and been this shutdown guy, but he's come in, he's played whatever it is, somewhere between 18 to 20 when he's been healthy. And I think he has helped this team. Like, I think he has helped the blue line get better. From the reaction I saw on the charts and the graphs and everything, and I thought, holy smokes, Duncan Keith is completely washed when they brought him in. And he's definitely proven that that's not the case, right? Like, I'd say he's lived up to the expectations that I had, but I think he's surpassed a lot of the expectations that some other folks had for him. Is that fair?
And does he remember?
Go ahead, Hernan.
No, I was just gonna say, remember, Dusty, like when Keith came and then they signed CC, like, and it's the numbers weren't sexy on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to go deep into the analytics or whatever. And it's funny now that I look at these two guys and they've become like the two most reliable guys defensively for this team. And I'm not saying they're better than Nurse. I'm just saying Nurse has been hurt. He's been kind of up and down. He plays a ton, but Keith and CC, like, where would this team be without them? And where before we were all kind of like, I don't know about well, I shouldn't say all of us, but some of us were questioning it just due to the numbers and the analytics, right?
Gage?
I never questioned the analytics.
Go ahead, Cass.
I never questioned the analytics.
I tried to dodge around using the word analytics just in case somebody got mad at us.
I was trying to say something not analytically, but
I'd love to go back and listen to what we actually said about it, but isn't Keith and CC doing exactly what we hoped that they would do at this point? Like, they are fitting in perfectly to what we expected them to do. And I mean, you can't measure the off ice and the things around that, how a player reacts in the room and how people look up to him. But you see what they did for him coming into Chicago. And I distinctly remember the one game when I think it was their first win, and I was at the game and Keith beelined it to Mikko Koskinen because they won, and just like had the big arm out and a huge hug and stuff, and the way he went back through the line after that, there's obviously something there. I mean, Cups, Conn Smythes, Norris's, like, this guy, good for him. What a career. I've always been a massive fan of him, but hopefully he just he keeps going the way he's been going and being that solid 3-4 D-man for the Oilers.
All right, let's continue as we got to talk about it, and I'll just kind of bang one out here, and then I think Chris Abbott should probably be by in a little bit. I just want to talk about Mikko Koskinen and get your guys' thoughts. I mean, he's 7-1 in his last 8. He's been excellent on the road so far this season. What's the save for 938 in his last 8? Is that what it is? I mean, he's been excellent here over the last stretch, and 8 games is not 3 games. 8 games is 8 games, and I know some of them have been others in that stretch, but he's managed to get wins. So, I mean, Gager, let's start with you. You're the goalie. It's two guys and a goalie. Let's go to you on this one. Have you noticed anything different in his play? Is this a confidence thing since Woodcroft took over as opposed to just being the second fiddle all the time, no matter what he did with Tippett? And is what you're seeing from him right now remotely sustainable? Sorry to pile a ton of questions on you there, but what do you come out on that?
Well, let's just go with the last part of your question there. Is it sustainable? And this thought has been rolling around in my mind for a while, and I think I want to say yes. I because of just the situation that the Oilers are in right now, and like you said, the way Mikko, it didn't matter how he played before, even if he had a good game with Coach Tippett. There was probably a really good chance that Mike Smith was coming right back that next game, right? So there is a way that you feel as a goalie if that feeling, if I win a game, I'll probably get the next game too. And it's tough too. It's a fine line as a goalie to play like that because you feel like, I just have to play good to get that next game, or I'm just trying to win, and it's a team game, and you can't really think that way as a goalie. You have to simplify it. So you don't want to get caught up too much as a goalie with that win and you're in kind of mentality. You have to really simplify it and go save to save to save. But if Mikko can do that, and the way he's been playing and just getting that extra bit of encouragement and confidence from a new coach, obviously, there was a point in Mikko's career where he did run with it and probably had a really good playoff. So you don't get to the NHL level without doing that. So there's something there, and maybe it's just a little bit of a mindset and a little bit of a switch click. And fingers crossed that he can bring his game to a level that his current stance warrant.
Cass, what do you think?
I get a little scared,
Which is understandable.
So if we look historically, he has had stretches, typically 9 or 10 games long, where he's played very well. And then he just completely falls apart for another 9 or 10 games after that. So it's like you get these 10-game chunks with him, especially when he's having to play a lot. Now he's been playing a little bit less recently, so maybe this doesn't hold true, but I'm very, very cautious. Like, he's been playing really well, which is great. Very happy with his play, which is great. But I'm still nervous based on past performance. So I'm not jumping for joy. I'm optimistic, but I'm extremely cautious.
Nan, so you got the last word on this one, buddy.
On the post-game shows, it's an interesting conversation because, you give him credit, right? Because he's been really good. But then, on the other side, you're like, well, we've kind of seen this before. Like Cass said, it's still so. It's like the fans don't know what to do, to be happy or to be kind of like, I want to be cautiously optimistic that this thing can continue. So, I think Tommy, the Hammer Gazzola, said it the best. He said, let's just take it day by day, man. Let's not get too high, too down on these performances, and let's see where it goes. Because like Cass said, and one of our texters on the post-game show said, this is Mikko Koskinen. Extreme highs followed by extreme lows. There's usually nothing in between, so we'll wait and see. And he is getting the start tonight, so we'll see if he can continue his hot play, and hopefully he gets a shutout so we can hear that great song does.
And Enzo, that's every goalie though. Ask my wife. There's extreme highs and extreme lows.
Hey, save the stuff for the roast, Gager. Come on now.
Text me for hot takes.
Yeah, so that's right. Send over to her now. He's dying for takes every single week. It's interesting. What might happen here is Koskinen goes on a heater for like the next 2.5 weeks, and they don't address the goaltending at the trade deadline, and then it goes back into the shitter the rest of the way this season. So we'll see how it looks. He's been pretty darn good as of late. Now, can he get me the Oilers in regulation at +110 tonight? That's what I really want to know. And I think that's the number I saw this morning over at Cool Bet, where Chris Abbott has once again not only returned to 2 guys and a goalie, but he's returned to Canada. I kind of half expected him to be making it rain Kane when we brought him in this time, but he does join us now. Chris Abbott, congratulations on all of your success in Vegas, my man.
Well. Yeah, it was pretty wild. I caught the dragon, so now I'm not sure what to do. Yeah, it's. I think I'm done. Like I finished it. It's like I beat the final boss. I got the progressive jackpot in Las Vegas. Like what do I do now? I don't know.
There's no reason to go back, buddy. You're good.
Well, I can find a couple. Yeah, no, it was pretty cool. For anyone who doesn't know, we won, and I say we because me and my buddy, you guys probably have it too with a friend. It's like, if I ever did this, then, I'll give you a cut or whatever. So me and my buddy have a deal that if anyone won more than 10 grand ever, we'd split it 70-30. And he was there with me, so it was good too. But we were playing Mississippi Stud, hit a straight flush, which triggered a progressive jackpot and a $28,000 payout. So that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. They obviously as the US, so they took 30% off the top. I had to give him 30%, but I still made out pretty good. So it was pretty fun. Yeah.
Man, how do we not have video footage of this? That's what I like. Dusty told us this. How aren't the cameras rolling?
Well, the cameras would have been rolling for sure, but you're not allowed to. You're definitely not allowed to videotape inside a casino. So I got it. They did take a couple of still photos, but yeah, it was pretty cool. So yeah, the funny part is like people are like, "Oh man, did you guys just ball out? Did you get limos, strippers, hookers?" It's like, I went back to my room. I was thirsty and hungry. So I took the Fiji water off of the mini bar and the M&M, the peanut M&Ms. It cost me $22, but I didn't care.
I was gonna say, and you have no money left.
Yeah,
It's all gone.
Hey, Chris, congratulations, first of all. But you're a brave soul. I saw you earlier this week, Chirp Analytics, and I was sitting there wondering, has Chris not seen my post or Cassian's post and the explosion that it creates? Like, you're a brave guy, man. Like, I even liked it and I got chirped. So it
was... well, obviously not. I didn't. So first of all, I mean, there's obviously a place in the game for it, right? 100%. Yeah. We all know that. My take was basically, recently I feel more than ever I'm seeing, this team lost, but, their expected goals for was this. And, this team won, but their expected goals were, not even close. So they shouldn't have. And it's like, obviously, right? So that's how betting odds are set, is by expected goals. And as we know, underdogs win frequently. So, my gripe was more so, this is being used to explain way too much, Is it valuable to assign a number to a player's ability to do this, that, or the other thing? Obviously, yes, it helps with evaluation. Can you reliably assign a value to the game of hockey in a microscope? I don't think so. And Cass is shaking his head. So I had a bunch of people come at me, right? So let me back up. It's not the analytics. When I bet baseball, I rely heavily on fan graphs and the numbers there. When you look at basketball and it's so much one-on-one and smaller rosters, I buy into it a whole lot more there. In the game of hockey, so it was funny. So people are going nuts at me. Oh, you don't want more data, Yeah, listen, give me the data. That's fine. But don't use it as a basis to explain everything, because you cannot. And look, I look at hockey much like you guys, right? Like I played, I coached, I broadcasted for like a total of 35 years. Not in the NHL. That's fine. But I've been around the game a whole lot. I think it's got to be next to impossible to assign a proper weight, a proper percentage, and build a proper formula to explain different types of forechecks, different types of penalty kills, different types of power plays, different D pairs, different lines, different opponents every night using different tactics, different goaltenders. To me, I could be wrong. There's too many moving parts to make that the basis to decide the outcome of the game. And then, actually, to be completely fair, I had some people, who work in analytics reach out and be like, hey, like, certainly no, it can't be the be all end all. We like to use it to confirm what we see or to help predict what a player might do down the road, and that's fine. I just find it for an individual game, come on. Yeah, the expected might have been this, but guess what? That's not what happened, and I don't think that we can rely on that. But I don't even know if I'm explaining myself properly.
I think that's
now.
I think you laid it out perfectly, buddy. I think you laid out your thoughts excellently on that. Now, with that being said, you're still a complete clown. But
I'll never
do
do
you
it.
laid it out nicely.
I'll never do it again because, but it's fine for the people who reach out and said, "Hey, Chris, see where you're coming from, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
Let me phrase it this way. That isn't how it went, man. It was, "How do you have a job? You should be fired. I can't believe you'd say this. I can't believe you do that." And it's like, I felt anxiety about getting personally attacked by people named like Firecracker 4679, and I'm like, why am I even, why am I doing this? So it was, I'm not trying to play the victim, but I do also understand where the social media bullying comes from.
Yeah, I stay out of the analytics discussion now.
Yeah, the trick is to quit caring. That's the real trick.
The mute button
because
is
I harp on analytics
sent.
all the time, and I agree with I think the best statement you said, and what maybe people that are fans of analytics said, which I agree with some of them in a lot of ways, is that it's very useful to help evaluate if what I was seeing is what I was seeing, and if there's a massive disconnect between that, so between the analytics that you see and what you're seeing from a player on your ice and watching video, then you need to say why. And then you need to dig into the video and you need to look at everyone else on the ice, the situation, the day, what's going on in that player's personal life. You got to look at so much more, especially if you're a coach, to do the evaluation and to actually dig in. And you need to have the same person doing the same analytics every single time with the exact same criteria to actually have any analytics that are worth anything. And even then, there's so much discretion in what you're calling what, that it's still very difficult to do. So they're good, Chris, in that they help evaluate and they can help you understand, but they are horrible for predicting. Horrible for predicting. It is way too dynamic
in this sport. Right? In this sport. And I think that's the caveat. Like I'm on board for other sports that are, for baseball, if I'm a hitter and the game resets every 30 seconds, okay? And you can classify most pitchers into something, right? Based on their spin rate, based on their velocity, based on their arm angle. There's a whole lot fewer variables that go into it. But if I'm a winger and one shift I've got a D-man who likes to come down the boards and I can't get the puck out, on another shift or another game or another set of 3 games, I'm playing a team whose D don't come down the boards, then that totally changes what the perception of what I am as a player, which really is due to external factors.
Yeah, save against team that pinches on the off wing in situation A when wingers below the goal line, centerman's above the goal line, and your second winger F2 is 3 feet off the wall in the defensive zone. There's too much,
right? And I think,
not if you come up with a name for that, Cass, then it could be anything.
but so that it's funny because then I had a guy who was actually quite respectful, and we were discussing, and I said, okay, how do you measure this? And this is what I said. I said, you've got a team that's playing an aggressive low 2-1-2 forecheck. You've got 3 D-men who are able to break it on your team, and 3 who are not. Now, 2 that can't are playing together. Your coach realizes this. He changes the D pair to try and help, which throws off your D pairs and their comfortability with each other. And now turnover, boom, the puck's in your net. How am I assigning a number to that? I just don't think. Yeah. So, and guess how many answers I got to that? 0. And then it was funny. Last night I was a little salty, and then I bet on Tage Thompson to score and the Sabres to win. And I tweeted, I said, Thompson and the Sabres. Oh, I expected that. And not a single reply.
You waged the good war, Chris, the good war. We'll catch up next week, buddy. Let us know if you win another 20 grand between now and then, okay?
It's not going to happen. I mean, I am getting new eyeballs, though. I'm getting LASIK. But I do want to say before we go, so we don't get jumped on again, I respect the work that the people do. I think it's an emerging science. I think maybe one day we'll get there. Personally, for me, way too dynamic. I'm with you, Cass.
Boom, there we go. Perfect. Said that well. And you know what? Chris makes a good point, maybe. NHL analytics, compared to some of these other sports, baseball specifically, still in the very early stages of it, is it not? Like I feel like I'm not an expert by any stretch of imagination, but I feel like it's going to be a hell of a lot more advanced 20 years from now. Would make sense, I think.
Well,
it's good, and it's growing, and the more data you have, the more information, like it does help. It's a good thing. More analytics is a good thing, but they have to be the right analytics, and you have to use them for the right purposes. Which again, evaluation, not prediction.
I remember, like, I don't know about you guys, when I first watched the movie Moneyball, right? And seeing the analytics, I go, the first thought in my mind is, oh, can you do this with hockey? That's how I thought. Like, I knew there's stats, but then all these advanced statistics, and it was like everything started coming flooring out for hockey, and I was just my head was spinning. I looked at some stat I tweeted today about why Austin Matthews is going to win the Hart, and I forget the abbreviation, but I go, that's a measure of a Hart Trophy candidate? Like, I had to look up what these letters meant. It was like half the alphabet of this thing.
I know what it is. It was NOFIT. Number of fans in Toronto. His NOFIT, his ratio was off the charts.
Guys, just quickly on this analytics. Remember when Draisaitl won the Hart? And there's a few voters that are big analytics guys. And again, all the respect to them. They write great articles. They have numbers and all that. To each their own. But some of them didn't even have Draisaitl on their
ballot.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's fine. It's
it's not fine. That's ridiculous.
On your ballot, yeah. And then one guy. So we started going back and forth on Twitter, and he's like, "Well, he gets outshot 5-on-5," and I'm like, "That's what you're basing your Hart Trophy voting on?" Like Cass said, he's on the ice with 4 other guys. The team wasn't very good. Like, and you're putting that as your reason to not give Draisaitl a vote when he led the league in scoring, which was that to me was kind of when I was like, I get a little upset, and I'm like, what are we doing here?
Well, how many times do you hear all the players talk about the Hart Trophy and how the sports writers got it wrong, right? And it's gotten to the point where that trophy doesn't. I don't think it means as much to players as it used to. They're looking.
Yeah, I don't even think that's a bold statement, man. I think that's just the truth.
Yeah, I think they're looking at the what's the one, the Ted Lindsay. That means way more to players than the Hart Trophy. Guaranteed, 100%.
All right, let's. We got a couple more things to get to, and we got to talk about it. Then I got 4 questions for Keeper Clipper that we can whip through. Let's save Cass's bold prediction for one more second. Gager, what do we got to talk about, buddy?
Well, I was thinking, looking at the Vegas Golden Knights, and they've lost a few, and they're in 3rd in the Pacific, and are they a target for teams at the deadline? And because of Eichel and Stone, and they're obviously going to be cap issues. And if Vegas finds themselves, I think they're trying to play to get the Tampa rule and wait till playoffs and then Stone comes back. But what if they need him in the lineup before this all happens, and they're going to have to move someone? I think the Oilers, like, there's been talk of just getting a little bit tougher, a little bit meaner with the Oilers lineup. And I looked at a couple guys on the Knights, and one guy that intrigues me is Keegan Kolesar. I mean, he's 3rd, 4th line guy, big, huge, rough, tough, finishes checks, makes league minimum. There's another D-man, Dylan Coughlin, that right shot D, plays like 14 minutes a night. I think those are 2 players that the Oilers could target, and we talk about the Oilers getting the best deal in trades. I think you could kind of put the Vegas Golden Knights over the barrel if they don't get stuff together and start winning them some games and find themselves out of the playoff picture at some point. Stone might have to come back, and then these cap issues. So I would look to them to see if you can get maybe one of these players that could make a difference on your team.
Hey, Gager, and a great point, because it's not just Stone. They have Alec Martinez, though. They have $14 million they have to bring back into the lineup.
Yeah.
$14 million. And like you said, they got Leonard back, which was a bit, I think, wasn't he supposed to be a little longer, but nonetheless, Like I'm with you. I think Colasar, he kills penalties too. So they're probably looking at moving 2 guys at the deadline just to get Martinez and Stone ready for April or even the playoffs if that's what they're going to wait for. Because with Eichel there, like, yeah, they're 14 million where they're like, hey, we got to move some money here. So it's some interesting names for sure, Gager.
I just think all those guys, a couple of them are going to end up on LTIR till the playoffs. So
Yep.
that's what's going to happen.
I mean, that's what they're going with, right? Like, it has to be what they're doing. And then at that point, I just wonder if it's risky with the way that they've been playing as of late. That's why Gage kind of brings it up, right? Like, if you can make it to that point and then you get to insert Stone into your lineup, you're laughing. But if you can't get to that point, they're by no point they're in no way secure of a playoff spot right now. So, I mean, maybe the return to their goaltender helps a little bit, but that's an interesting idea to keep an eye on over the next 2.5 weeks. Cass, you said it in our text group message earlier today. You've got a bold prediction for us. I have something in my mind of what it might be, but I want to hear it. Give us your bold prediction.
My bold prediction, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, and this is what I think is going to happen. And I know some people in the analytics community are going to be like, "You're crazy."
What?
I think the LA Kings are going to collapse in the next 2 months.
Ooh.
I think the LA Kings do not make the playoffs.
Cass, I thought you were going to go the other way with the Kings.
Nope.
Nope. They're going to like.
Nope. I think they're going to. I think they're going to completely fall apart here.
What's the reasoning? What's the
LA
story?
Kings,
Yeah.
call it a gut hunch on some of it, but when I look stylistically at how they play, how other teams are going to start to tighten up here down the stretch, especially defensively, the number of goals that I think the LA Kings score and have the potential to score is going to continue to drop. And I do not know how much tighter the LA Kings can play defensively. So they've been pretty good defensively. You know, they've been very, very poor to average offensively, but their defense and play in the defensive zone has really got them through. What's going to happen is teams tighten up down the stretch, and they are going to struggle even more to score goals. And I think they start to lose hockey games because of it. So I see the LA Kings sliding here and possibly sliding out of a playoff spot. So it's bold to say that they slide that far. That's why it's a bold prediction. It wasn't like an easy, simple prediction. But my bold prediction for today is that the LA Kings do not make the playoffs.
I like it.
Whew.
They've overachieved to me at this point anyway, so I guess maybe I wouldn't be totally surprised by a collapse, but the way they've played the last 3-4 weeks, it is kind of a bold thing to say right now. I like you going against the grain, Cass. It's good. Gager, you don't buy it?
That's a tough one, but I don't see them doing it, Cass. I was a huge Kings fan when they won that first cup and the way they played. And I see that in the way that they play right now. They don't have the scoring like you said, and that's worrisome. But with Kopitar and Doughty and Quick, that's a solid foundation for any team. And I know they're a little bit long in the tooth and stuff, but I think they're still at an age where they'll still be able to get them to the playoffs.
I just keep waiting to fall off, like kind of like the Sharks and the Ducks have, but they just keep winning games. So it's a tough one. Cass, what do you think their success is based on? Like, what's the number one reason?
Their defensive play.
Their defensive play.
Yeah, that's what it's been. They're playing the D zone. Their ability to not give up grade A scoring chances against, I think thus far has been where they've had a lot of success. And I think they're going to, they'll keep doing a pretty good job of that. But I just think some of the goals, and there already haven't been a lot, but the goals will dry up even more for them.
They play a heavy game still too. Like that game they played against the Oilers. I was quite impressed with the Oilers, how they responded, but that was a very physical type of game.
Well, we'll mark it down March 3rd. His Cass call his shot March 3rd on the Kings in the playoffs. All right, let's get into Keeper Clip. I've got 4 questions here. We kind of hit on this a little bit when we did our Duncan Keith discussion a little bit earlier on, but let's just give this guy a little bit of a moment here. Cody Ceci has been the most pleasant surprise on the Oilers this season. Keep it or clip it.
Clip it. He wasn't a surprise to me. Anyways, and maybe to the analytics community, they're like, "Oh, no, not a surprise at all to me." So he wasn't a surprise. I expected him to come in and do what he's doing, which is a great job. He's doing a fantastic job. So he's not a surprise to me in that. The biggest and greatest surprise to me has been my boy Marcus Niemelainen.
Okay, out of nowhere, yeah.
Out of nowhere, I love that. That's been my favorite surprise of the year. Seeing some big hits laid down. I love it.
Yeah, I can back Cass up. He always liked the CC signing. I didn't think he was terrible. If I can put it this way, I'll keep it because I didn't think he was this reliable, and he moves the puck better than I thought. And I didn't see him a lot in Pittsburgh, to be honest, guys, last season. So I'm not like wow surprised like he's this good, but I'm pleasantly surprised, and I'm glad he's an Oiler now because he's been for me one of their top 2 most reliable defensemen.
Yeah, no, I'll clip it too because he's doing what we expected him to do, right?
The Toronto Maple Leafs will make some sort of goalie trade prior to the deadline. Keep it or clip it.
They're gonna acquire Koskinen.
He's been playing better than their 2 guys lately.
Yeah. I'll keep it. I think they wanna bring in someone to help. Like you said, Dusty, both guys have been struggling as late, but Campbell's their go-to guy. Mrazek hasn't been very good. He's been hurt a lot too, so I think they're gonna upgrade their backup. So yes.
This is funny. Goaltending's so funny, man. It's so volatile. The emotions of goaltending. The clip it. Like Jack Campbell's a really good goaltender that's going through a tough time. If they get like he's had an all-star year. Granted, it's not a great time to be bad, but he's going to get his game back together here soon, and he's going to be the guy going down the stretch.
Clip it. I think clip it was they're not going to trade for goalie.
Yeah, that's right.
I think they're. I don't think they have. It's the similar situation to Edmonton. They don't have a ton of cap space and ability to do it. So I don't know what they're going to give up to get that. So I think they just try to run with Campbell ultimately and try to get him back going again.
What are they going to do? Trade Campbell, go get Reimer, and lose in the first round again in Game 7?
Exactly. Campbell's a guy. It's just a matter of how much they're going to pay him long term, I think, moving forward. I mean, that's kind of what's up there. All right, let's wrap up with this one. Let's do this one because this is interesting to me. Final question. The Chicago Blackhawks should trade Patrick Kane. Keep it or clip it.
Well, keep it because the return would be ridiculous.
You're still getting a ton at this point, right?
You're getting a top 5 player, like a guy that fits into your top line immediately and makes a massive difference on your power play, everything. And you're getting the Tom Brady 5 firsts for that, I think, if that happens. Yeah.
He's got a year left. Next year he makes 10.5, and then after that he need a new deal, and it would be less than the 10.5, I would think, for the final stretch of his career. So it'd be interesting to see the return on a Pat Kane trade. But what do you think, boys?
Dusty, he has a no movement clause too, so it'd be totally his call.
So he get to call where he goes to, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of with Gager. I think Chicago's in a full rebuild here. I don't think they're with all the acquisitions they made this year. I thought they'd be a little bit further, but they're not. So, like the return would be immense. And I'm sure Kane. I know Kane yesterday said he wants to finish his career there, and play his entire career in Chicago. But I think if he can go to a contender, he definitely opened up to that.
Yeah, it'd have to be the right team for him to be able to go. If I'm Chicago, though, like I am seriously looking at that. If the return can be there, like if you could get young guys or even a couple, blue chip prospects that are going to be ready in 1 or 2 years, then you look at that as well. Cause Chicago's got some really good young players, and I thought they were going to be much better this year. I still think Kirby Dach is the best player coming out of that draft. Like he's going to be the top guy from that draft year. Like you have some pieces there that are going to be good. And not that Patrick Kane's not, but if you could get a lot for him that's going to help you in 2 or 3 years, it might end up being more valuable than Kane in that 3-year period. So it's an interesting thought.
You trade him to Buffalo, he goes home, and you get the next, probably for the next 5 years, you get the first round pick.
Just a massive, massive, massive deal. That would be good. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. We'll be back on Monday, which is game day against the Calgary Flames. A Battle of Alberta episode for Two Guys and a Goalie. That's going to be great. As always, presented to you by our friends at Coolbet Canada. Gager, Cass, Hernan. Have a great weekend, boys. We'll catch up with you next week.
Later, bye.